Hi, I'm Jed A. Wølters. Welcome to my bedroom studio. This is where I create everything for my project Tesla Cøils, and I'm going to show you how I made Dinosynth.
Oh, it's a dinosaur floating through space. Yes, that's right.
So how Dinosynth started, I was at a jam at a house party once. I was in a circle with all these people with different instruments, and we were making a big sort of David Lynchian drone sound together. And I was using this instrument. It's called an Elektron Analog 4 from Sweden. And I was cycling through the presets and I found a really interesting sound called Dino Lead. It sounds like this. Sounds like something you'd use in a techno song or something like a lead. It sounded really good when I played it on a low C sharp. And I was like, oh my goodness. To me, that reminds me of a dinosaur, like what a T-Rex would sound like in space. So it was immediately inspired me to go home and write this song, and I basically sequenced the whole song in one day, improvised some lyrics over it, and basically that was what became Dinosynth. How I got the bass line for Dinosynth was using this instrument. It's called a Roland SH-101. It's the first synth I ever got. It's a real characterful sound. What I did basically was use an exercise called a paradiddle that I used to do when I was playing the drums. And it's basically you hit the drum right, left, right, left, left. But instead of sticks on a pad, I did it with these notes in the sequencer. If I load them in with a nice staccato bass sound, if I pressed play, speed it up a little bit, and that's basically the bass line. Use the key transpose button to change note to your heart's content. For the drums for Dinosynth, I always start sequencing using a drum machine, and I used the Analog 4. It was just a matter of coming up with a kick pattern with the step sequencer here, so you can obviously light up whatever kick pattern you want. That's what the kick does. This is what the snare does. And then we've got a classic 16th note hi-hat pattern. The cool thing about the Elektron Analog 4 is you can convert MIDI information into control voltage information. Control voltage is a way of sequencing an electronic instrument using voltages, pitch and gate. At the moment, the Analog 4 is telling the SH-101 to play rhythmically ba 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 ba. So if I hit play on my sequence, it won't start until I start the Analog 4. With the drum pattern sequenced in, if I press play, it should all be in time. And it is. Change the note. And then the other cool thing, there's this fill that Chris, our drummer, does in a live setting. In the verses, he does this boom boom bo ga 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 bo ga bo brr. He does a little scatter sort of fill. I really wanted to recreate that, so I basically recorded him playing that on a real drum, and then through the power of trigger technology, I took his performance and made the drum machine sample play that. It's a really cool way of getting Chris to put his own personal flavor on the track. I'm really interested in having these real cold sort of dark verses and then erupting into a big sort of lush chorus, and that's what the Juno is really good for. This is the Roland Alpha Juno. I actually got this for free out of a friend's garage. Really lucky. It's not as popular as its predecessors, the Juno 106 or 60. It doesn't have as many faders and things to touch. You have to do it with this little wheel thing here. So it's a lot of going through parameter menus and stuff, but I got really fast at it. And it's also a lot more stable. It stays in tune, and the voice chips don't break as often as the older versions. There are a few layered sounds for Dinosynth. The first one being this patch that I created. So you can really hear the pitch kind of warbles in and out of tune. That's with the LFO on the oscillators. And that gives it that real sort of detuney VHS left out in the sun feeling. I really enjoy, because I'm really interested in imperfections in the instruments. And I also layered this sound that the previous owner had created. It's called fairy steps. Just a nice bit of high end that just like glistens on the top. And then there's also this other patch called Voice Pad, which is a really nice pad. And so those three sounds combined really created a nice, big, luscious chorus that I wanted. Another sound I created on the Juno was what I like to call Numanesque. It's basically a recreation of the Polymoog Vox Humana preset, which was made famous by Gary Newman. It was used on a lot of Gary Newman stuff. That's the riff that comes in at the end in the outro bridge section, where it gets kind of morbid and melancholic. I always like the second chorus to be different to the first chorus. I like something new happening, so I introduce an arpeggio in the second chorus, and the 101's really good for that. I'll do it with the sequencer because it's really fun. You actually have to do math. So I want it to cycle through the same shapes that I use for the choruses. And that should be in time. Go up an octave maybe? There's another arpeggio that comes at the end of the song in the bridge section. It doesn't use all 16 steps of the bars, so you need to use the rest function, so I'll show you how I did that. So we want it to do that, so we go da 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 da. Hopefully that'll be in time. There we go. I'm not just using, say, a software instrument that will just be the same sound through the whole song. I'll actually, stand here and, dance in the room and change the frequency throughout the whole song. So it gives a real organic quality, and obviously most of the time I'm playing it through this vintage 80s Boss delay, which sounds beautiful. The interesting thing about the vocals was I actually wrote the lyrics just as placeholders. I thought a song about a dinosaur floating through space would be a little bit too whimsical, and I thought, oh well, I'll eventually write some serious vocals for it. And then the weeks went by and I didn't change them, and then they started to grow on me, and I ended up just leaving it the way it was. When I record vocals, I was lucky enough to drive them through a Neve preamp at university. I don't think any Tesla vocals are ever clean. They're always dirty and driving and have delay or reverb or something on them. We added the backing vocals. I really thought that the choruses needed an extra element. I invited my friends Tiana, Olivia and Gabrielle to come in and sing certain phrases in the chorus with, you know, their female vocal tones, the three of them just standing around one mic, which was a real fun session, and it added a real human league element to the song, I guess. That's all the sounds that I used to create Dinosynth. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about how I create sounds and using sequencers and drum machines and analog gear. And I guess if I wanted to give anyone some advice, you know, young producers or musicians, I know it can be really daunting to watch these studio videos of big producers, all their gear, walls of modulars and analog synthesizers. It must cost a fortune, but really I created the first Tesla Cøils EP just using what you see here. So I think that it doesn't really matter how much gear you have. All that matters is how musical you are with it, how creative you are with it, and the vibe that you create by layering all the elements together. So don't hold back and just have fun with it.